What is employer branding? If your introduction to employer branding was anything like mine, you're probably feeling a little overwhelmed and confused about what to do with all of the ambiguous information out there. In this video, I'll include some definitions and context and share the framework that helped me connect the dots so that I understood the big picture and could start taking some meaningful action. So jumping right in, I'm not one to get fussy about semantics, but it's important that we're talking about the same things. So the obvious place to start is, what is an employer brand? There are several interpretations, but this is the one I find to be the most helpful. Your employer brand is what your employees, past, current, and potential, think and feel about you as a place to work, which means it's not completely within your control because it's not what you say it is, it's what they say it is. So employer branding is the process of shaping that perception. It's taking an active and strategic role in inviting the thoughts and feelings you want your employees, again, past, present, and future, to have about you. I keep reiterating that it's important to consider past, present, and future employees because I think a common misconception about employer branding is that it's only for attracting new talent. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. It's crucial for your employer brand to feel authentic and motivating to the wonderful people who are already with you. After all, your current employees are the ones who bring the employer brand to life. Now, one of the challenges I faced when entering the world of employer branding was that people would use words like employer brand, culture, employee engagement, employee experience, purpose, mission, vision, values, talent acquisition campaigns, and more interchangeably. That gets incredibly confusing and wildly overwhelming if you're trying to implement employer brand change. So I'm going to share a framework that I made that helped me wrap my head around the big picture by mapping out important HR components, defining them, and understanding their relationship to each other so that I began to understand what was and wasn't in my control and where I could start making meaningful change. Here we go. Think of this like a building or a Jenga tower. We're going to start from the bottom because that's the foundation and we'll build up from there. Bottom left, purpose. This is why your company does what it does. Beyond money. Believe it or not, purpose has almost become controversial these days. I think because during the rise of Start With Why by the amazing Simon Sinek, highly recommend this book, or at least watching the TED Talk, by the way. A lot of companies try to jump on the purpose bandwagon by slapping something about making the world a better place in every job ad. And I get it. Purpose washing without any connection to your actual business or origin story is more likely to hurt your employer brand rather than help it. But a real story about why your company does what it does is a powerful opportunity to connect with your employees who share your why. Okay, purpose tangent over. Moving more quickly through the framework now. Vision, a description of the world you're trying to create. What does the world look like if you've achieved your purpose? Mission, your company's offering. This is where it becomes a little less conceptual as you're talking about what your company is doing to fulfill your purpose and get closer to your vision. Values, the way you behave as employees and as a company while you're on your mission. On top of those 4 foundational blocks, I've got employer value proposition. These are the key promises you make to your employees about what they'll experience when working with you. Often these are expressed as 3 to 6 pillars or promises. They should be somewhat influenced or at least aligned with your foundational 4 below, especially mission and values, since those speak to what you do and how you behave. Employee experience and culture, what it's like to be someone who joins your cause and company. This is where I think things get interesting because this is where you need to start relying on previous components like EVP and values to properly bring employee experience and culture to life. That's why I note it's a lagging indicator of the below, particularly EVP and values. Not to say that you as a company don't have a very active role to play here. You do in mapping out your employee experience and protecting culture. But similar to an employer brand itself, an employee's experience and the company culture isn't simply what you say you want it to be. It's your employees' lived experiences. Next is employee engagement, the effort your employees volunteer to your cause, a lagging indicator of employee experience and culture. The key word here is volunteer because that's what every employee is doing when they do anything above and beyond not getting fired. They're voluntarily engaging with your company and its goals. And for sure, you can incentivize with rewards, but generally employee engagement is a lagging indicator of employee experience and culture. Next is achievement of business goals. The definition of this one is obvious, but an aha moment for me was realizing its relationship to the rest of these employer brand components. Some folks may think this is a hot take, but I really believe that achievement of business goals is a lagging indicator of employee engagement. How quickly or effectively you achieve business goals depends on how much effort your employees volunteer. And finally, employer brand. As we established at the start of this video, is how people feel and think about you as a place to work. And as you may have guessed, it's often a lagging indicator of how aligned everything below is. This framework was what I needed to put into context all the necessary business, HR, and brand things and their relationship to each other so that I can understand what was and wasn't in my or a company's complete control, and thus where I could start making a meaningful difference. So if it helped me, I hope it can help you too. And if it does, please let me know by commenting or shooting me a message because I'd love to learn what you found most insightful. Same if you have questions or constructive criticisms. I am all ears and always eager to explain or level up and help increase work-life balance wherever I can. My name is Becky Kate, and I'm the founder of Cato Creative, Employer Branding Specialist. If you've made it to the end of this video, chances are you are an HR or talent expert or CEO that cares about people. So first, I'd like to say thank you. I'm grateful for the work you're doing. Your work is important. Second, if you're beginning your employer brand journey but aren't sure where to start, or if your organizational identity has just gotten a little fuzzy, I'd love to chat with you because it sounds like we're on the same mission. Until next time, wishing you all more work-life balance.